You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Ian, look at this.
What, it's a police box. What on earth is he doing here? I mean, these things are usually on the street. I feel it. Feel it, you feel it?
It's a faint vibration.
It's alive.
Earth Station Who, a fun mashup celebrating nearly 50 years of Doctor Who universe. Hold tight. You never know where the TARDIS is going next.
Who are you?
I'm glad you asked that again. Bit of adrenaline, dash of outrage, and a hint of panic knitted my brain back together. I know exactly who I am. I'm the Doctor. Sorting out fair play throughout the universe. Now please, get off this planet while you still have a choice.
Hey everyone, welcome to Earth Station Who, and we are up to episode 7 of the new season of Doctor Who already, and we are going to be Can You Hear Me? A newest episode, and it was written by someone new to Doctor Who, actually. Charlene James, and Chris Chibnall had a little bit of, finger massaging things he did. I think his idea was the fingers, I think. It had to be. But it was an interesting episode. We're going to have a lot to talk about tonight, and we got a great crew to do it. But before we introduce them, we want to definitely tell you could definitely get in touch with us, and we would love to hear from you guys. So please write us at earthstationwho@esonetwork.com. With that being said, let's introduce our folks for tonight. Sitting in with us for the first time in a long time, let's welcome back to the show, Nicole Mazza.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
Welcome back. God, it's been quite some time.
Yeah, I was like, oh, God, I was just there like a few months ago. And then I was like, oh, wait, no, that was last season. And that was in like 2018. Oh, my God.
So you completely snubbed us in 2019. Got it.
On purpose? Yeah, I think it was Witchfinders was the last time I was on. So,
oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Yeah.
So it's awesome to have you back. How you been?
I've been pretty good. Busy, but good.
Good. And you do a wonderful podcast here on the ESO Network. You want to tell everyone about it real quick?
Sure. I have another Doctor Who podcast, much like this one, and I do reviews about the series, like older episodes, newer episodes. I'm still getting my one for this season out because, technical issues. But anyway, it happens. So it's just a different voice talking about Doctor Who. I seem to have people that like me, so I don't really know what to say about it.
They like you. They really, really like you.
They like me. It's always hard to advertise yourself, but just someone who's like really geeky about Doctor Who, classic series, new series, whatever. Come and check me out.
Excellent. How can people find you?
Oh, I am at either terminus.libsyn.com, or you can find me on the ESO network.
Perfect. Yes. And Nicole's been with us for quite a few years now, and she's been a wonderful member of ESO, and it's always great to talk to you.
Oh, yay.
And, of course, we have our regulars with us. Of course, Mr. Mike Gordon is here.
Howdy.
How are you, sir?
Peachy keen.
Ready for a little finger love?
Finger love. I'm ready to give you the finger.
Oh, well, okay. That tells you what you think about this episode already. And, of course, Miss Mary Ogle.
Hi, everybody. It is great to be here.
It's actually going to be fun to talk about this one. It's interesting. Now I have it in my mind every time I watch new Doctor Who. Oh, my God, I hope Mike Gordon's liking this one.
Oh, jeez. No. That's not what you should be asking.
No pressure or anything.
I know, right?
Exactly.
Like, wow, I'm turned into that guy.
Get off my lawn, kids.
You, Chris Chibnall, get off my show.
Exactly. Oh, there's people out there who are like that. So
yeah, I'm not quite that bad.
No, I know you're not.
At least I don't mean to be.
Well, it does happen. So it's awesome that we're going to be talking about this one, and we might as well jump in with both feet. This one was a little different than what I was expecting. I'm going to come out and say it. I enjoyed it. I liked the concept of it about, the Eternals, and it touches a lot on Doctor Who lore. We'll get into that in a little bit. And it was, once again, I thought Jodie knocked it out of the ballpark with this one. And, it plays on your deepest fears, your dreams, your nightmares, whatever, is coming out. And I think, especially in this one, I think this one set up maybe how some of the companions might be leaving at the end of the season.
Yeah, certainly it was implied that Ryan might be leaving.
Sure.
Yeah, but I kind of found this one an exercise in frustration because I liked parts of it. It's not like I hated it or anything, but I feel like there was a lot of good here, but it really needed some editing. It really needed to tighten up the script. Because
that I agree with. Yes.
There was just some choices I felt. There was a lot of telling and not showing, which has happened a lot in this series. And I just find it increasingly frustrating to see that, because it doesn't have to be that way. There doesn't need to be that much exposition. Show us what's going on.
Do you think that's Chibnall's fault, or do you think it is whoever's directing it?
I think part of it is writers with less experience. And yes, part of it's Chibnall, because it kind of is the showrunner's job to, at least the script editor's job, to catch that. And I don't think it's happening. And I wish it would be, because I hate to see a good idea not be as good as it could be.
Okay. I could definitely see that. I agree with that. There was, some of it was a little frustrating, but I left this one feeling satisfied at the end, and I'm not being, beer goggles or, glassy Chibnall glasses or whatever, but, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing right now compared to last season.
I kind of definitely went in with, admittedly a bit of low expectations, because I haven't been super keen on this season, but it actually surprised me. It worked for me. I can see issues with it, but overall, much like Mike, I was just like, hey, I really enjoyed that one. Hey, that's cool. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Oh, I go into every episode. Oh God, please don't have another vacation. Exactly. I feel like when I go into these, I'm feeling like I'm Eeyore. Oh, great. Here we go again. But then afterwards I'm Tigger. So it's awesome.
It was reams above the episode that will not be named.
God, yes.
It was way above that.
Oh, even though we saw those creatures again in Ryan's dream.
They came back just for you, Mary.
Yes.
That's her worst nightmare.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it for the most part. I wasn't expecting a lot. I don't know that it gave me a lot. So about sort of equal in terms of we reached an equilibrium there. Once again, I thought the companions were used decently. And certainly towards the end, we got more content regarding them than we've had for a season and a half. I don't think even though it's corresponding with it, I don't think I'm not liking this season because there's not enough Grant.
That's it.
Certainly there hasn't been as much, but I will say that slowly but surely, Yaz is really growing on me. I thought the scenes with her in this at the end, and they just seemed like they were tacked on. I'm like, man, where was this stuff earlier with her? The actual plot regarding the Eternals, I will admit, I didn't get the connection to Classic Who at all, so that meant nothing to me. So they just seemed like they were just your average, eternal beings that were that needed to be, enlightened. And Jodie's great. Can I just say too, and I don't know if I've ever said this publicly, So I'm going to throw this out there. I think Jodie Whittaker's Doctor has the best hair of any other.
Really?
I just like her. I just like her hair. Like her hair always looks great.
It is pretty much never
that's nice.
messy. I mean, even like Tennant, he had coiffed hair, but his would get messy sometimes, you know.
Yeah, hers is always on point. Like it just, I mean, every once in a while, sure, you know, it's not like she never has the hair out of place, but it just, I just look, and every once in a while I look at him like, nice hair, Doc.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting that you brought up the stuff about Old Who, because I know you weren't a big watcher of the Peter Davison era.
Yeah, I wasn't a big watcher of any era.
Yeah,
except for you know, Tom. So
right. So basically, Eternals were figured very prominent in the episode Enlightenment. And I don't know, Mary, did you see that one?
I love, that's one of my favorites. So I was very excited about the Eternals and Guardians and the Toymaker being mentioned. But yeah, I love Enlightenment. I would actually go as far to say that's probably my favorite Fifth Doctor story.
It's a great, great story. And we'll probably, since we'll have time after the season's over, I'm sure we'll probably hit that one because we haven't done a ton of Fifth Doctor stories. And, you know, I think that would be a really good one to watch because it touches on the Eternals, which are like the higher beings. And then below them were the Guardians of Time, which is the White Guardian and the Black Guardian. And so, you know, from the Key of Time era.
Yeah, and that I got, but I didn't see any connection between that and this at all.
Well,
other than they were
just
like
sort of mention it offhand.
Yeah, it's just mentioned offhand. But they also,
but to be honest, I don't know what it was. I don't know whether the accent or what. But maybe sometimes the audio goes, but I don't know. Like I noticed afterwards that they mentioned the Toymaker. Now, even though I don't think I've seen that one, I would get it because that's a very like Doctor Who like title. Like that's out there as like being, you know, a big deal in Doctor Who is the Celestial Toymaker. So I would have, if I'd heard Toymaker, I probably, my ears would have been like, whoa, I get that. But, you know, just naming like Guardians or Eternals, look, I've seen a lot of like immortal beings throughout a ton of science fiction be referred to as the Guardians and the Eternals. I can't keep them all straight. Like, you know, whether it's
totally
Star Trek
sense.
or, you know, Marvel or whatever, you know?
Right. And they threw out the Toymaker in this. They blatantly said it. And, you know, they had wondered, you know, when they introduced the Toymaker, the Celestial Toymaker, it was rumored that he was a member of possibly the Doctor's race or something even higher than what the Doctor is. And they were supposed to actually have the Toymaker come back, but the whole in Colin Baker's era. But that whole storyline got scrapped when the Six Doctors series was put on hold, and then they came back then with Trial of a Time Lord, and they
I
threw
was
out
just
all these
hoping
other
for
stories.
like a bird on somebody's head, but you know, we had enough birds last week, so no birds on people's heads this time. One left over, put it on his head, and be like, "Look, I'm a guardian."
And my understanding is, after reading a couple things on this episode, this is the first time they've been tied together. Is that right?
Yes.
So, and it's just like a slight, you know, it's just an off comment. So I don't even know how much you can put into that, but certainly we're all Doctor Who fans, so we're all gonna, you know, geek out over it. So,
yeah.
and yeah, it must be canon now. So, and that's cool. I appreciate that. But while watching it, it meant nothing to me.
Well,
so.
The Eternals and the Guardians, yes, have been tied together, especially in Enlightenment, because they both deal with it in that because of Turlough being a spy for the Doctor and other things too. So
what?
Yeah, well,
I feel like
you'll have to watch it to find out.
The Toymaker was like retroactively thrown in with them too. I can't remember where, but I feel like it was like either a Big Finish story or something that they sort of lumped him in with at least the Eternals. But I don't remember the exact details of it because he is kind of similar.
I mean,
the thing I read said something about like the books like did that, but it wasn't, you know, until it's on TV, it's not canon.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Well, there's been a lot of speculation about that.
Sure.
I mean, about what the Toymaker really was.
Well, the great thing about it is also that the toy maker was Alfred from the Batman movies.
Yeah.
So, but it's kind of cool. But back to this. These are the stories. We're talking about the flying fingers. And, I thought, that was just disgusting.
That was really creepy.
It was creepy, but I was also I also just busted and laughed because I thought, because it just seems so like a digital effect, and I couldn't help but think if this was done during the 80s, during the
little strings on the fingers.
No, they wouldn't. They would have had some cheesy video effect where they would have cut the fingers and they just would have 2-dimensionally flown over. And I was just like, oh God, this is I'm like, this is just kind of, because they didn't really, they didn't look real and creepy to me. They just look kind of
they look like rubber fingers.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of having a finger stuck in your ear is yes, that's a good for them because that's something tangible that you can be ew about. But the idea of just every time you the fingers detached, it was kind of weird. But
oh, exactly.
I don't mind it. I like weird in Doctor Who.
I mean, at least the guy was kind of creepy. I didn't even get why the woman was there. Because she did nothing.
Yeah, they didn't even say her name on the screen. I had to look that up. It was Rakaya or something.
Yeah,
Yes.
and she's got this just ridiculous costume on, and she's just kind of standing there with the tear. And you're like, oh man, come on. It would have been better to actually just have him be trapped in the prison and just maybe projecting himself out of it somehow and tricking the Doctor into freeing him. But she was just totally unnecessary.
Like some kind of Doctor Strange projection or something like that.
Right.
So, I could have easily seen that. And it was because it was weird because, nothing is supposed to break through the TARDIS. And he showed up right in the TARDIS. And it was just who is that guy? Cool tattoos on his head, but it was
but the
who
Guardians
is that guy?
did too, I guess. So maybe they have powers over that or something.
Yeah, I mean it's all loose, they're all powerful, and yet there's some there's stuff that you can't do. It seems like this one guy needs the the Doctor to figure out how to free the other one, and it's just kind of why? But okay, whatever, it's just Doctor Who, and I like it, and it's fine. But I don't find. I mean, he was creepy and intimidating, but then we find out that he's just kind of her lackey. And she's not that impressive. You're right. But I will say what I really enjoyed about this, particularly how it was solved at the end, was, I've been complaining that they haven't been giving Jodie enough, the Doctor enough credit. Sometimes she doesn't seem like the smartest one in the room. And in this one, I was like, it's really important that she figure out how to defeat these guys. And she did pretty easily, really. And I thought, thank you, because she appeared more competent in this story than she has in a lot of other stories.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's like the Doctor when Graham was going, Doc, do you have a way to fix this up? She says, I have hundreds of them going through my head right now. And it's just okay, perfect. That's what I wanted to hear, that she was the one who basically took care of them and wiped them out. I loved it. And
that was a nice scene where she kind of says, I have hundreds of them in my head, but choosing the right one, that was a cool Doctor moment.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And that was what was awesome, and how confident she was when they went back to Syria and, was waiting for them to come back. Yes.
That's what, moments like that are what I want from this show, where she once she gets the answer, once she knows how to do it, she's cocky, she is confident. And I love that. But we don't get those moments nearly enough. So that was refreshing. It was nice to see that.
Mm-hmm. It was her in total control of the scene. And, and she had everyone with her to back her up. It wasn't like the companions, go get him, Doc, go get him, something like that. I'm working on it. She knew exactly what she was doing the whole time. And that was pretty damn awesome. And, God, I sound like a freaking cheerleader for this show.
Here, I'll bring it down.
Thanks, Mary. Yay, Mary.
Mary's tagging in.
All right.
Okay, I like the ideas of the dreams. I like the nightmare sequences, but I don't like how they were handled. Well, not Yaz. I was fine with Yaz. I liked Yaz. We got to learn a lot about Yaz's motivations for a change, so I really liked that. But I thought the other two dreams just got kind of ham-fisted. Like it wasn't necessary for Grace to be in Graham's dream. I think it would have had more impact if they had just focused on his fear of his cancer returning. And for Ryan, we didn't need fire and an elderly that looked really fake, and an elderly Tebow, which was just Tebow with white hair, because his fear that he's leaving everyone behind and letting them down. I mean, that's perfectly legitimate to explore, but show us the poetry behind those fears. Not like it felt like a TMZ post. I mean, it's just like it hit you over the head. I mean, come on, have some subtlety, have some I hate to say it, grace, but not that kind of grace.
Not that grace. Have grace, but not that one.
I kept I don't know why, but I kept thinking about, I don't know if any of you remember the Dream episode on MASH.
Oh God, yes.
It was like one of the most beautiful episodes of anything I've ever
beautiful
seen.
And creepy. Some of those images,
completely creepy.
Yeah, especially the Hawkeye one. Really, like, I mean, I'll never forget that.
Very affecting. Yeah, to this day, I mean, I find that haunting to think about.
Well,
and that to me, that's how to handle a dream sequence. Not to hit you over the head with it.
No, I agree with you on that. I totally agree with you. I related a lot, though, to the Graham one because of my mom. When she went into remission from cancer, she woke up one night screaming at the top of her lungs that she had dreamt that the doctors were there to take out both her lungs because of the cancer, and that had come back. And so I saw the fear in her, and it helped me relate to what Graham was going
I definitely
through.
understood Graham's dream, but I feel like, whereas with Yaz, I feel like we actually got some interiority of her character, like what motivations are. But Ryan, I still don't know who he is. Like, what are his motivations? What are anything? He misses his friend. That's about all we know. But that's not, I don't know. That's not enough it's not juicy enough. It doesn't, like, I want to like him. I don't dislike him, but I want to have some resonance with that character. And I'm like, what was that dream about? Mm-hmm. It could have been anyone's dream. It didn't feel Ryan specific in any way. It was, I don't know. It was odd.
Yeah. In fact, I would put this out there based on what we know of Ryan through the show. To me, his nightmare would be that he can't help, like, save the team. Like, like that to me would be more compelling. Like, if he's in a situation with the Doctor and the rest of the companions and they're in trouble and he cannot save them. Because we've run across that several times already. And, there's always an out. Because he doesn't really do anything else. He doesn't contribute. So it would have been kind of interesting to see that play out. But yeah, you're right. With this, it only indicates that he's, it only tells me that he's not really cut out for this, and he's probably going to leave. Like that's what I got from his.
Yeah, because even with Tebow, who was introduced at the beginning of the season, we don't get any of that where he's missing him in the first season. Like, he doesn't even come up like, oh, I miss my friend. Right. I miss home. I miss whatever. It sounded like when he set off with the Doctor, he didn't have any ties back home. So he was just getting out there. And I understand that you can change that, going forward, but I don't know. It just didn't feel earned. I don't know. I mean, I really loved his relationship with Tebow. And I even said online, it's so rare to see affection and vulnerability between two Black men on television. And that was awesome. And I love that whole relationship, but it just felt like it came out of nowhere. I was like, where was that,
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
it did come out of nowhere.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I feel like that's been a problem through the whole series. Well, both series is that there's no through line for the characters. They're not developing in an organic way. We just get these sort of little bits and pieces, if we get anything at all. And it's very hard for us to empathize with them and get to know them and really feel something for them.
No, agreed. And, it shouldn't be our job to have to piece these people's lives together. This is why we're watching the show, for them to have the writers or the producers or the showrunners do it for us. It shouldn't be, oh, this goes with this and this, in us. Oh, this explains Yaz's, why she did this. This explains why she wanted to become a police officer. This is why, and it shouldn't be our way of doing it. It should be better storytelling.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I feel like we know more about the guest people that come on each week than we do about the companions. And that's one thing about 1 or 2 episodes into their first season, but we're like almost toward the end of their second. And I don't know. I still am like, who are these people?
No, that's very true. That's very, very true.
If any of them were to leave or die or whatever, I don't
care.
think I'd care. Yeah, I wouldn't care.
No, I'm caring more and more for Yaz this season than I ever thought I would last season.
Yeah, I will say they have done more to develop Yaz. I'm still not sure they've done enough, but they have done more. But Ryan's just sort of twisting in the wind. They just don't give him anything behind his character for us to latch on to.
I was listening to another podcast and they're talking about like how most of his interactions are him snarking at Graham, but they don't even set that up. They don't say like, why does he suddenly kind of hate Graham? Like they just have this sort of adversarial kind of nitpicky relationship. And it's like, what went down there? We could explore that, but they don't.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And, they haven't touched at all, literally at all this whole season about the relationship between Graham and Ryan.
They've barely done anything with the relationship between the Doctor and the companions. Like, I really, as an aside, like, I don't get why they're like, we know you so well and we're so close to you. And I'm like, what? Like, you don't know each other. What are you talking about? Like, I don't understand it.
Yeah, Nicole, I've even said, when they, a couple weeks ago when they said, don't worry, Doc, we got your back. You can trust us. And I'm like, really? Because I wouldn't trust you guys.
Because we barely know you.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust you guys with making toast. So, like, I just, yeah.
Do you think part of that is just because there's too many companions?
Well, yes and no. I think there's a way that you can take those companions and have compelling stories, but the problem comes with the writing and the show running. They opted to have 3 companions. They must have known the challenges of having 3 companions, and yet they seem to have gone out of their way to not understand that at all. And it almost seems like, I hate to say it, but it almost seems like Ryan was something that was thrust on them. It's like, you got to have Ryan on there. So they're like, okay. And they just don't do anything with him because they're like, well, we didn't want him anyway. So we don't really know what to do with him. And, we complained last year that Graham got a lot of attention because Bradley Walsh is an amazingly charming actor and personality. So, of course, they're going to write for him. And that was frustrating because he was getting a lot of great moments, even more so in some episodes than the Doctor. And they've backed off that a lot this season. So I give him credit for that, but I can't say that either of these are going to make like a top list of my favorite companions ever.
I think they're definitely focusing on too much on the guest people coming in. And if we could just have I don't know, maybe just an episode that just has the 3 companions and the Doctor locked in a room or something. I don't know. We might like I know Class even did an episode of that.
Force them to interact.
Have them, hash it out, fight or something. I don't know, something juicy. I don't know.
It's a fair point. I mean, basic writing for characters is, if you're writing something, the exercise is, when you create characters, if they're in a scene together, they should be able to just be in an elevator together, and you can make that compelling. And if that doesn't work, if they're not strong enough to be in a scene where they're just together in an elevator, just talking, and make that compelling, then you failed. Like, they're not interesting characters. So to your point, Nicole, like, if you lock them in an elevator or in the TARDIS, that should be interesting. But I would imagine that show would be very boring. Especially, I don't want to see that too, because I don't like the way the TARDIS looks.
Same. Yeah.
The less we see of it, the better.
It has scary fingers too.
Man, that center column. I'm sorry, that center column looks just too phallic. I'm just like, this has got to go. Like this, I can't believe this was ever.
Maybe we'll get Grace's, or not Grace, Ruth's TARDIS instead. That will be good. Just switch out to that.
Oh,
yes.
Wasn't that such a refreshing? I'm like, someone can design a good-looking TARDIS.
And
it's the round things, the round things.
And it was nice and bright. You could actually see things. It wasn't, you know. Yeah.
It's funny, though, because I've been in the Doctor's place when somebody's trying to have a heart-to-heart talk with you, and then, and she goes, I still haven't gotten all the social, I just love that. And she said, I'll probably in about a minute, I'll think of something that I should have said a minute ago, to you and everything. And instead, I'll go walk over here and pretend I'm busy.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it, but I also, the one thing about Jodie's Doctor is she doesn't seem to have any internal dialogue. All her dialogue is externalized. So she's like, I am walking over to the thing, and I am doing this, and I'm just like, you don't need to say everything that you do, it just. But on the other hand, I did like that she was giving an insight into, this is how I work in these situations, and I'm awkward around emotional stuff. So, it was kind of hit or miss. I'm not really sure how I feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like that particular scene, but
me too.
There's too much. She's given too much exposition. She's often explaining what she's doing. She did it in this episode too, and it's like, just show us. You don't have to narrate everything. If you have to narrate everything, there's something wrong with your story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, exactly, and that's where we're going with it. Okay, so it's very interesting where this went. And did you, we got to see one monster at least in this one. And I thought the monster looked pretty awesome, actually.
That's pretty cool.
CGI city, but yeah.
Yeah.
Looked kind of like a mean sloth.
Yeah. It's a very angry sloth.
Yeah.
A very angry and active sloth.
Yes. Not very slothy sloth.
Exactly. It's like run. Well, we don't have to run really.
It's a sloth.
We can just like stroll away from it. Yes. That would have been funny.
No, very much so. And that's what's interesting is that, we got a monster, but we thinking that was it. They didn't really explain, they said it attacked people at the hospital, but the only one that survived was the nurse. That was
because she created it.
The nurse created it, or the girl?
The girl created it.
Sorry.
Miriam survived. I got the impression that there were more people on that ship because the Doctor said there was a whole bunch of them in the jacuzzi.
Yeah, that's what I got too.
Okay.
We just didn't see that many.
Yeah, my guess,
she did rescue at least some of them.
Yeah, and she said there were only about 12 people in the hospital, so there might not have been that many people to do.
So it's good to know that the TARDIS has a jacuzzi now.
I guess so.
that can fit roughly 12 Syrians.
Right.
Dude, that just sounds like some summer breaks that I've been on in the past.
12 Syrians, Tebow, and I think that's it, right?
And a gorilla thing.
Gotcha.
That's very true. The gorilla thing was there too. So, hey. So, yeah, it was interesting. Would I watch this one again? Probably. I enjoyed it that much. And I'd liked the backstory, how they described about how the two planets and, they were the Eternals were manipulating them to fight and everything, because that's how the unknown named woman got her, absorbed their anger or whatever, their horror from their dreams and everything. And I enjoyed that part. And
did you like the way they did it as an animated sequence?
Yes, I did. I thought that was pretty awesome.
Was pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like that too.
Exactly. It's better that they did that than, just saying what they did, and everything. So, and of course, BBC America in all its wisdom put a commercial right before it and then right after it.
Of course.
Yeah.
That was your worst nightmare, Mike.
No, dealing with Comcast is my worst nightmare, but that's another story on itself. But yeah.
Well, there was also the Jehovah Witnesses or something that came to the door when we watched Day of the Doctor. So it was people coming to the door during Doctor Who.
I remember that when you were over at our place. Yep, I remember that well.
This is not the time to come to the door.
No, go away. So it's yes, I know. I love Jehovah's Witnesses. Yes, my uncle's one. He gives us stuff all the time. Bye. Click. Yeah. So it's always good to get rid of them that way. But yes, so don't interrupt Doctor Who. That's what we like to say. But, it was interesting to see. And I think, now they did it, that's leading into the next week's episode where they meet Mary Shelley and deal with the whole Frankenstein stuff.
I mean, that has potential. I hope they don't mess that one up, because that one could be really cool. But in this one, I'm trying to remember, because I was reading some posts about some people speculating and the bloggers talking about the whole Timeless Child thing. Is that in this at all?
Yeah,
yes.
Yes, the Doctor has a dream of.
Okay, right, because that's her kind of nightmarish thing, right?
Yes, I mean, she didn't seem that scared about it, but yeah.
No.
Yeah, I mean the implication was her nightmare is she doesn't really know who she is.
Yeah, I think that I mean, if we're talking about companions, nightmares, and all that kind of stuff, I mean, it would have been kind of cool to have that scene, like a scene of the Doctor having to face her nightmare. I mean, we kind of get that, that's alluded to in Matt Smith, the door that has your nightmares
complex.
In it. Yes, absolutely. It would have been kind of cool if it had been something like that, and it could have tied in a little bit better that way. But I mean, obviously they're going, that's the thing this season, for better or for worse. And the way they're handling it just seems kind of weak. Yeah. I just couldn't remember. Like I said, I couldn't remember if it was in this one or not. So, because we do get to see, right, the Timeless Child. Is that the first time
we
you get to
child.
see a child
kind of standing there,
right? And I'm assuming it almost looked like it was a little girl, but you can't be so sure with that.
Yeah, and it's the same clip we keep seeing. It just seems to be expanded a little bit.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. You're assuming it's Gallifrey, but it could be, any Art Deco looking place. So
yeah, I mean, you really don't learn anything.
No.
I was gonna say you wouldn't know that looking at some of the blog posts. It's like, we figured it all out, and it's like, really, okay, so.
Mm-hmm. But of course they have. So, all right. Do you want to do any final thoughts on this before we go ahead and rate?
I thought it was, a couple people have certainly said this, not just me, but I thought it was a really interesting story about mental illness and depression. And I really like the thought about how the gods were kind of symbolic of that. And that while they were put away by the Doctor. They weren't completely defeated, because you can't really make depression and mental illness go away completely, but you can kind of, placate it a little bit. And I did see someone online talked about how the two planets kind of crashing into each other sort of signified the war with yourself in your head. And I was like, that's pretty good. I like that. So that's kind of the way I'm, as far as some of the plot stuff is kind of, I'm kind of clinging on to the mental illness, depression stuff myself.
Yeah, and certainly, the stuff with Tebow was along those lines as well. I wish they really could have expanded on that too. That would have been, I don't know. I thought it was kind of alluded to, which was kind of nice, but I didn't really think anything was really satisfied.
And even with Yaz, I mean, it was sort of implied that she might have even had a suicide attempt. I'm not really sure, but she at least ran away. Was being bullied.
Yeah, I got the feeling more that she was trying to run away just from everything. And the police officer was sent out by the sister because she was, to see,
was I the only one waiting for her to come out in that scene? Because I totally was. I'm still waiting for Yes to come out. I'm in that boat where she's like secretly queer. And I'm like, come on. And that, and the police officer's gay too. And they're just going to talk about being gay. And
I don't think this show is that shy about that sort of thing. So I'm not sure that there's anything going on there, but who knows?
I know. I'm mostly kidding, but not entirely.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Okay, I shipped the Doctor and Yaz. All right.
I know you too.
Are you
Nicole.
shipping the Doctor and Yaz?
Yes,
That's what you're doing?
Phasmin all the way. Can't help it.
That is awesome. Now, that was some very powerful scenes with the mental illness, especially, I'm glad that Ryan actually made his friend go to support.
Yeah.
And that was
British
awesome.
People don't really like to go to therapy a lot. Yeah, which one of my friends was joking about that and was like, yeah, Americans are just the opposite. It's like, yeah, I went to therapy today and I, talked about this and that. And, we're just very open about it. We don't really care most of the time.
Although I will say too, and, I don't have an extended, real knowledge of this, but it seems that at least depicted, it's very rare for, like you were saying, Nicole, about showing Black men to be vulnerable. You don't see them in therapy very often. You don't see them addressing their internal fears and depressions that often.
Yeah, especially on television, because culturally it exists obviously, but it's just not one of those things you see. It's just kind of stereotypes and stuff on television.
Yeah. So that was kind of nice. I wish it had tied in together more. Like maybe instead of the Eternals feeding off their fears and nightmares, it could have been deeper and depression based. That might have made it a little bit more tied in a little bit better. And
it would have been awesome, actually, because that would have tied a little bit better to what was happening to some of the characters.
Yeah, and even with Ryan, because we still haven't gotten anything about his grief about losing Grace. Like, we've gotten Graham's grief, but we haven't gotten his grief. It's like, where's his grief? So, like, he's probably stuffing it down. So, like, his depression and then Yaz's, issues and Graham's fears. Like, you could have really played that out pretty well.
Yeah, it's not like there's not stuff there, but it just was handled in, I don't want to say superficial way, but kind of a clunky way. And I wish they had, I'm sorry, I think it was Mike who said, I wish they had just gone deeper, because it felt just kind of surface.
Yep, agreed. I agree with that.
And
a lot.
Again, blame it on the writing, because I think when you get to those individual scenes, the actors are really doing everything they can to convey those kind of emotions, and some of those scenes are really well done between the characters and the actors, but overall, it's kind of not enough.
Yeah, I actually think they could have cut out the serious scenes.
Yeah, I don't really...
And use that time to explore the companions more.
I don't know
Yeah.
why they I thought the actress was adorable, and I've been putting her songs on my Facebook wall, but I don't know what the point of her really was, except to control the creature at the end. I don't really know. And I hate to say that, what was the point of her? But there really wasn't much of a point.
Well, we've talked about it before. They feel like they have to shoehorn a monster in.
Mm-hmm.
If this had been just about, the Doctor and companions dealing with depressive thoughts, that kind of thing, then, that's a hard sell. They're like, no, you need to have a monster for the kids, so.
Yeah, sort of like Vincent and the Doctor, where they had
yes, exactly.
Yes.
No, that's actually a very good point.
That's the perfect example.
Yep, exactly. It's Doctor Who. There has to be a monster. At least they're not in rubber suits anymore.
I don't know. The finger guy was kind of monstery. Like, freaked me out. Like, as corny as it looked, I was like, ah.
Yeah. I mean, I would have argued that he was the monster. And so you didn't need CGI
exactly.
sloth.
No,
I mean,
not
the
at all.
sloth might have just wanted some cuddles. I mean, who knows? Like in the jacuzzi, he was like snuggled up with everybody. And, we don't know. We don't know. He just wanted love.
We forgive you for taking us to the finger spaceship.
He wasn't a monster. He was just misunderstood.
Yeah.
There you go.
And he was trying to hug you. He wasn't trying to
Exactly.
claw you. He was just trying to hug.
Instead, what is he now, trapped on in a little orb with two Eternals for the rest of
now he's got to
time?
spend eternity with those two idiots.
It's like a small space, so they're just all crammed in there.
Now I feel sorry for the sloth.
I know. I do too. Get the sloth out of there.
Rescue the sloth.
Yeah, that'll be the finale, is rescuing the sloth.
The Doctor saves the sloth. Thank you,
That's
Doctor.
the timeless
Thank
child
you.
right there.
We've solved it. We figured it out.
Yeah, really. And we just did that in an hour. Come on, Chris.
You just needed me
exactly,
here.
Chris.
That's why.
We did.
Exactly. So now you're going to get our judgment, Chris. Let's go ahead and rate this. 1 out of 5 TARDISes, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. Nicole, you get to go first.
It's definitely no Heaven Sent or Vincent and the Doctor, but I did find it poignant and compelling for most of the time. And I think it was probably my favorite 13th Doctor story, at least right now. And but I do, as I think I said earlier, I do wish we would have gotten this for the companions earlier in their run. I feel like it's like a little too late for this, but the mention of the Eternals and the Guardians and the Toy Maker, that got me all super excited. And so I think I think I'm going to give it a 4.75 out of 5. I'm feeling generous today.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Which is not something I
You
would
go, girl. You go. All right. And now let's see the other side of the coin, Mr. Mike Gordon.
I'm not going to go total opposite from that. I was sitting here trying to think if there's a reason that I should give it a little bit more than a 3. There's some nice scenes, to be sure. But the writing and everything. And when I think about, if they just had another, if Chibnall co-wrote this, it's his job to take what Charlene wrote and beef it up, not water it down. And I'm not sure if that's exactly what happened, but that's what it feels like happened. So I'm going to just give it a solid 3. It's not horrible, but it's not amazing. And it's just kind of there. And like you said, Mike, I don't expect, to be popping this one in and watching it over and over and over again.
Nope, exactly. All right, Mary.
All right. I think I'm going to give this a 3.5. And most of that, I'm giving it an extra 0.5 because of Yaz. Because I actually really liked the scenes with Yaz. I felt we got to know Yaz a little better. And we got to know some of her motivations about becoming a police officer and just about who she is. And it was really nice to finally see something like that. And so, but I still think this episode was badly in need of script editing. That there was a really good idea there that just needed to be crafted better. So I don't think I can give it more than a 3.5.
Okay, got it. I'm going to give this one, I've been thinking about it. I'm going to do a solid 4. I enjoyed it enough that, it was entertaining, and I watched part of it last night, then finished it earlier today, and then I watched it a second time right before we went on the air. So I just wanted to make sure if I missed anything or such. And it was enjoyable. And that's actually more when I caught the Eternal and the Toy Maker line the second time around. Because, also it was interesting to be able to see that. And I had more of the timing that I was able to fast forward quicker through the commercials, which was even better for that. So it helped. And I do like it. A couple people who I'd been talking to said, the flying fingers looked a little too phallic for them at points. And it was just like, yeah, I saw that also a couple times. But, it was, for me, it was more just the nightmare of, getting a wet willy from my sister when I was little. So it was just like, yeah, no, I couldn't deal with that. And, when the doctor was like rescuing everyone and she's pulling the finger out of their ear and everything and throwing it on the ground and everything. It was just like, it was just like, but we definitely would love to hear from you guys at home. What did you guys think? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Please write us at earthstationwho@esonetwork.com. We definitely would love to hear from you. Okay, with that wrapping up, we are going to be back again next week. And yep, folks, like they had shown at the end of this episode, they're going to
the Villa Diodati.
Exactly. She said it for me. She said it for me. So thank you, Nicole. I appreciate you being here tonight.
Thanks so much for having me again.
It's always great to have you. So we'll see you in another year and a half or so.
I hope not. I'm at least going to be at Con K. So if you're there, you'll see me there. So.
Oh, we are definitely going to be back there. We've made our hotel reservations. We're completely set. And
awesome.
We're going to be interviewing a couple people on Sunday.
Yay.
So, and these people, at least I won't mess up their names. So it's perfect. So it'll be very cool. And, Nicole, how can people find you?
Again, you can find me at terminus.libsyn.com or again, over at the ESO Network page.
Excellent. And can't wait to see what your next couple episodes are going to be like.
Yeah. Almost done. So close.
Almost there. So close, but yet so far. That is awesome, though. And, you're getting a lot more consistent. We love it.
Yay.
It's awesome. Yay.
Yay.
Do a Kermit Frail.
Oh.
Exactly. So it's pretty cool. And, of course, let's thank our regulars. Mary, always great.
Thank you so much. It's always great to talk to you guys. I really enjoy it.
And Mr. Mike.
As always, it's my pleasure. I'm wondering if I should put
excellent
a poll on our Facebook page to see like who that people feel has the doctor with the best hair. I mean, it's probably like a no contest, really. Although I'm looking at some of the others and I'm like, well, Peter's got some nice hair, but
do you count Hartnell? Because wasn't that a wig? I don't know.
Was Peter?
If it's like not their real hair.
Oh, right. No. Yeah. Do you count like fake hair? Yeah, no.
Yeah. Huh. And I think Peter Davison's hair is dyed. Well, actually, so is Jodie's. So
yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, because she's not a natural blonde. Come on.
No.
Yeah. So there's probably not really much of a competition. So because traditionally the doctors don't know. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. They have some amazing hair. But as far as like nice hair, you think you could call it nice? Like.
No, that's a good point to put it. I think you should look for the poll up on the Facebook page, folks. Mike Gordon will be putting it up there this evening as of the recording time.
Always getting important content from the ESW.
Exactly. ESW, we talk about what's really important.
We have our priorities straight.
We do.
Damn straight. So, folks, it's been great talking to you guys. We will see you all next time here on Earth Station Who. Peace. And we are done. Boom.
Yay.
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a bi-weekly pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talents from across the universe. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individual and are used for entertainment value alone. You subscribe to our podcast up on iTunes, Stitcher, or follow our blog at www.esopodcast.com. You can also follow us up on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. If you enjoyed the show, please leave feedback up on iTunes.
Where comedy and commentary collide.
Thunder Talk brings a unique variety show style twist
to the fandom podcast genre.
We drop music from some of today's hottest up-and-coming artists.
We discuss topics of social and political relevance.
And deliver our sideways take on the world at large.
If stand-up comedy,
NPR,
the Millennium Falcon,
and classic MTV had a baby,
it would be Thunder Talk.
Thunder Talk is part of the ESO Network. Find us at thundertalk.org and on all podcasting platforms.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.